Welcome to the Neurodivergent Experience podcast, a podcast where we share the lived experiences of neurodivergent people to help create a better understanding for our community.
Join us every week as we bring you honest, raw, and inspiring conversations with specialists, advocates, and individuals who know exactly what it's like to live the neurodivergent experience.
I'm Jordan James, a neurodivergent specialist, father of neurodivergent children, husband to a neurodivergent wife, and author of The Autistic Experience, and I'm joined by my best friend.
I'm Simon Scott. I'm an autistic ADHD broadcaster, actor, and advocate. Join us as we journey into unraveling the neurodivergent experience.
Welcome back.
All right, Nana.
Yo, that's me being trendy and cool in it. And because the reason I was like trendy and cool in it is because I do have a Labubu now. So I'm like cool with the cool kids. So hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am now officially the coolest person in the world because not only am I the autistic photographer, but I'm now the autistic owner of a Labubu.
I don't think you're the first, though. I don't think you're the first autistic owner of a Labubu. I'm just putting it out there.
Is that not a Lafufu?
Oh, wow.
Straight in.
There's
the truth teller, Sophie James, joining us again.
I mean, to be fair, I did buy it while I was on air.
Well,
and I was
turn
like,
his head around.
No, I'm not turning. Don't flick my Labubu. You just leave him. It is actually quite funny because if you do watch the video that we never ever put out, I'm actually going to just turn the whole head around and basically do like an exorcist thing with the Labubu. So to be fair, the fact their heads turn completely around is actually better. So I've decided that the Lafubus are better than the ones that you can't get hold of because, like we were saying off air, I literally went into a store the other day, found the machines, like the vending machines that you can get a Labubu from, and they were filled with everything but a Labubu. And if there was one in there, I would have bought it. Not as because I'm losing my mind.
If there was one in there, somebody would have probably nicked the vending machine.
Yeah, I'd probably just like smashed vending machine and stuff. But I think they're really, really cute. But I'm not going to go mental over them like many people have. But yeah, they are cute. And the cutest thing is when it came, my wife of 25 years of hating cuddly toys, actively like they're just dust collectors and I hate them. Even though she does own a couple. But she says they're mine, but I've seen her cuddle them. I've seen you, babe. She saw this and she went, I want one. I was like, I'm sorry, what? She went, yeah, can you buy me one? And I'm like,
good Lord.
I have never been more attracted to you in 25 years until you asked me for a cuddly toy.
I want a keychain cuddly toy, please. And you're like,
I'm like, grr, baby, very grr. Yeah, so I went immediately and bought two more because I wanted one for myself, obviously. And there was a thing. It was like buy two, get one free. So I went around my entire house to everyone in my house and I was like, I'll get you one for free. Which one do you want? And everyone else was like, yeah, I don't want one. And I was very upset. I can't understand it. I was like, why would you not want one? So I've officially kicked all my family out and it's just me and Sylvia and our Labubus, who are now our new children. And that is what you have done to me. It's all your fault.
And welcome to the Neurodivergent Experience.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Yes, hello. If you're wondering what this is all about, a couple of weeks ago, we did a hot topic where I was like, hey, Jordan, look at these silly little keychains that everybody's buying. And he went, they're really dumb. Don't fucking fall for the scam. Don't fall for trends. I've bought three.
Well, I bought three fake ones.
Your Honour.
Yes. Judge, I bought three fake ones. And yeah, but I ran out of... I ran out of money.
I've also ordered my missus one, and the guy sent me an email going, "You're definitely real. Labubu is on its way. Don't worry, it's real." I was like, "Yeah, sure, ChatGPT. Of course it is."
Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah. Sure it is. So, other than Labubus, we've got the wonderful Sophie with us. Thank you once again for joining us. But George, what are we talking about this week?
So this week we're going to be talking about our relationship with food, and weight, which is a huge thing within, I think it's just a huge thing in general. And let's be honest, I think everybody,
everybody is thing
just,
at the moment,
yeah, it is. But I think it's a huge thing with neurodivergence as well, because of this particular thing, which I'm not sure how much it affects me, but I do know it affects me. It's called ARFID. So ARFID, put my specialist hat on.
Oh, put your shades on.
Yes, push my talking. Shut up. ARFID is called Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder. Everything's a fucking disorder. It's a condition that limits your food intake. It isn't caused by a negative self-image or a desire to change your body weight. It's fear and anxiety about food or consequences of eating, like choking, can lead to ARFID. While not everyone who is autistic will have ARFID, it is estimated that up to a third of people who are autistic will. I think it's higher than that. I think these statistics don't take a lot of the nuances into account.
Well, that's a bit of a pandemic in general, isn't it? Just the nuance around neurodivergence just is never taken into account. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Like that was the official take on it. That's not my take on it. I think the official take on it, saying that it isn't caused by negative self-image or desire to change your body weight. And then they go fear and anxiety about food, and I'm like, well, that is part of food and anxiety.
Yeah, this is like one of the things that I've experienced, especially like being a late diagnosed person and just having the internet, is so many of these statements sort of like really contradict themselves. Is it like goes, oh yeah, it's based around like anxiety and food, but so much of my anxiety around food comes from trauma and like my experiences around like how I've been treated. And, we constantly come back to like how many of us have been like ostracized or have felt like out of society and things like that. And so many of like my eating habits when I was younger made me really self-conscious and forced me to eat things that I didn't like. And then I just used to get in such a tiz about it. But, that's why we're here with this podcast. It's to talk about our own personal experiences and kind of just normalize what we all experience, because so many of us don't really talk to each other or feel comfortable about talking about things that we struggle with.
Yeah, I mean, we're not here to be like, oh, go and lose weight. Like that's definitely something that you get a lot of, and it's all well and good. If someone is overweight or if someone is struggling with their health because of eating issues, it's all well and good with like, oh, just stop it. But it's never.
Do that.
Yeah, just stop it.
Whatever you're doing, just don't do it. And then there's my PDA brain going, you don't do it. And that's going to go well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's never that simple. And that's why we're here talking about our stories. So we're not out here giving advice. That's not what we're here. We're not health experts, but we are experts on ourselves. Like that's our experience. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And that's why Sophie's joining us, because Sophie, as a young woman, previously a very, very tiny, tiny girl, has had a lot of issues. Am I okay to say that? Yeah, a lot of issues. I get permission first. Has a lot of issues with eating. A lot of them to do with being neurodivergent, but a lot of it is because I think of like sensory issues and neurodivergent related issues. But obviously, a lot of it is because I'm just going to say because of social media, because of societal expectations, being surrounded by other people who, you think look better than you. So it makes you feel bad. So all of those things. And I think we all three of us have them in common, but we all experience them differently. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And and I hope it relates to some people and they don't feel so shitty about themselves, because my God, the reason we can talk about this now, and I'm speaking for me and Sophie particularly, is because, and I have to say a lot of it is because of Sophie. Sophie has helped me massively feel better about myself. I don't hate myself. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. I don't hate the way I look. I don't hate myself. My relationship with food has never been better. My relationship with myself has never been better. So I feel like this is the perfect time to talk about the journey, because I feel like I'm not at the end of the journey. I don't feel like you're ever at the end of the journey, but I am at the stage of the journey where I'm just like, I'm enjoying this journey now. Like, I've hated this journey for so long, and now I'm actually enjoying it.
It's a good place to reflect on, isn't it? Because I feel like I'm not at the end of my journey. There's certain times where I look at myself in the mirror without a t-shirt on and I feel icky. And then there are certain times where I look at myself and I go, oh, look all right today. Even though I don't naturally, I love exercise and it's stretching that I hate, but we'll talk about that. So how should we start this? Like, who wants to go first? What are the sort of like patterns that you guys feel like you've had with your relationship with just like food in general?
Well, when I was younger, you know very well, I was very, very fussy as a child. And it's hard to imagine now because I'm not like that anymore, and I haven't been since I was about 14. But when I was a kid, if you tried to make me eat something that my brain went, no, scary, scary, I would gag if I put it in my mouth. I would physically gag and want to throw it up. And so it was, sadly, the healthiest foods for you. It was tomatoes. It was a lot of vegetables, anything put together that just didn't look good to me. And for me, I was very much set on eating the same thing because I knew I liked it and I knew it was safe. So like, even every time we went to Subway, I had to have the tuna and mayo sandwich. I had to have that. And I remember the day that everyone was like, oh, come on, try something different. I was like, no. And you got me a meatball marinara. And I literally started crying. I was like, no, I don't want to eat it. And they were like, just please try it. And I like tried a little bit of it, but like, I don't want to. But I did try a little bit of it. And then I was like, wait a minute.
Hold the phone.
Wait a second. There are other flavors?
And then I only had that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try anything else.
I screwed myself over because they're more expensive. So,
no. Yeah. See, as soon as you find the hearty Italian bread, it's a game over.
Yeah, and I remember going to other people's houses and their parents trying to feed me. And they put a spag bowl in front of me. And I just went, I can't eat that. Sorry. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I will not eat that. That's all and good as a child, right? Until you get to the age of about 12 and you basically get so constipated that you cannot move and you have the most extreme stomach pains that they literally think you have appendicitis. And so I had to go to the hospital a few times to go, why am I in the worst stomach pain? I couldn't go to school. I was like cramped up on the sofa.
Inside you.
Literally, I didn't eat enough fiber, and so I like barely pooped, and it really messed up my whole like digestive system really badly, and then I had to just be put on like laxatives, and that's very unhealthy and not good for you. And again, like I say, like when you're a child, you got a lot of energy. You kind of can get through these things, but I experienced that when I was about 13, and then I think we all got into our really we all changed. Like you guys changed what's in the fridge. You guys got a NutriBullet.
Yeah, we went on the health. That was like 2018.
Like this big health cleanse of just like changing all the food in the house, and kind of looked at the NutriBullet, and I was also started secondary school and I realized I was a lot bigger than all of the other girls. I mean, I did grow.
Yeah, but
I did grow.
I have to interject here because you always say that, but you really, really weren't, baby girl. You weren't overweight. You were actually optimal weight because it was a big thing for us that we particularly didn't want our kids to be overweight because it's incredibly unhealthy.
I have to stop you there. I was overweight in year 8. I was, because I was almost 10 stone for a girl who was 13, which is overweight.
But you didn't look overweight.
Yeah, to you. You don't have to look overweight.
But that's the interesting thing about perception, isn't it? Because I was very, very similar to you, Sophie. It's like, I didn't like pizza until I was like 14. I had shares in Captain Birdseye. Like, that's just sort of, I have always had, especially as a kid, a beige diet. I remember being in like my mid-20s and going for a meal with my parents, and they were like, what the fuck? You're eating everything on your plate. I'm like, yes, poverty will do that to you. But also, like, I just would eat everything. I'd have tomatoes and salad, and I do eat loads of different foods compared to what I ate as a kid. And, you know, my mum and dad always used to joke that, like, they used to, like, make me a meal. I remember my mum making me a pasta carbonara years ago and actually liking it. But there was just something about, like, the texture of the sauce that made me just go, And they always used to say, like, oh, do you like it? And I go, yeah, it's great, masking. And they were just like, he doesn't like it. And they wouldn't try and force me to have stuff over and over again. But school did. Like, when I went to school and wouldn't eat things, and they'd be like, oh, you're difficult. And, you know, as a neurodivergent person, anytime anybody goes to you, oh, you're difficult, or you're too much, like hard work, you don't feel good about yourself. And I had it where I hit puberty quite early on. I've got hypermobility in my knees, and I had a period where my parents thought I was going to need knee braces and crutches because my knees kept hyperextending, and I had a lot of like tendonitis and issues with my hamstrings. And because I hit puberty early, I put on puberty weight, and I wasn't overweight, but all of the kids that I went to school with were slim and sporty. And I was sporty. I just didn't play football because I couldn't run for 90 minutes. And I was called fat boy by all the other boys between the ages of 11 to 16, even though I wasn't overweight. But in my mind, I remember myself being overweight, even though I wasn't. So I relate to what you're saying, Sophie, because other people around me didn't think that I was fat. And even like saying the word fat, I've had to really come to terms with saying it. It's not easy for me.
I hit puberty very, very fast when I was in year 5. And so everyone else was just like a child, and I was basically like growing into a woman. It was a very uncomfortable period because no one else around me was like that. And I only say that I was overweight because I weighed a stone more than I do now, and I'm 21, and that was me when I was 13.
Yeah, but to be fair, you haven't got taller.
Dad logic. Love that.
I know why I was like that, and I did grow very quickly, but also I remember that period of my life, and I only ate the food that made me comfortable, which obviously didn't make my body very comfortable, and it made me very sick. And it was this really difficult period of just like, I don't feel comfortable, but this is the only food that makes me comfortable. And yeah, it's hard to imagine now because I'm not like that. And basically all I can remember was happening is my mum got me to cook a lot. And I kind of started cooking for myself from quite like a young teenager. I started cooking my own food, you know, when they went to work, and I just like, you know, they taught me how to cook, and I started cooking my own things. And then I could kind of understand what was going into a meal and what that was. And if you don't know that, it looks very foreign. It looks very unpredictable, and you don't trust it. But when I started cooking my own, and we got a NutriBullet, and I started making smoothies, and I realized you could kind of put spinach in a smoothie and you just wouldn't taste it.
The ability to hide food in other food is one of the things that has helped me a lot. Like
ketchup on peas. You can eat peas, but they taste of ketchup.
Yeah,
that was a big thing for me, just to get myself eating healthy food. is I would put sauce
Smother
on
it
it.
in sugar.
And like the sauce, not good, but I'm still getting the nutrients from the vegetables, because broccoli, hated peas, hated all of those things when I first met Sylvia. And she introduced me, and we've talked about this before, she introduced me to this amazing thing that apparently my freaking parents had no idea what it was. And it was called fucking salt, right? for all the English people that don't use that, it's fucking awesome, and it makes things taste better. So Sylvia introduced me to salt, and suddenly I was like, food has flavor. And after a while, I love veg. I absolutely love fruits, veg, salad. And it definitely it's more about the fact that Sylvia is so good at creating dishes, not just cooking, but looking in the fridge. I look in the fridge, open it up and go, a yogurt is the only edible thing in that fridge right now.
Yeah,
and then she'll look in there, and 5 minutes later, there is a fantastic meal on the plate. And I'm like, what? I only saw a yogurt. And she was like, yeah, you don't look properly. But because I'm not creative with food, so I can't go, oh, well, that goes with that and that goes with that, and I can put that with that and that with that. Her whole thing is it has to have color. Like me with my photography, she loves color. She loves bright, vibrant color, and she needs that with her food. So we could be eating something that's just like, beige, and she will just put like some tomatoes and just add things to it, just to add the color. It's not even about flavor for her, even though she does like the taste of those things, but she needs color. And that basically, I've just gone along with that because it does. If to me, it tastes so good. But can I just say, from a parent's perspective, listening to Sophie talking about like when we went to the doctors, and Jesus Christ, the fucking judgment that I got as a parent that my child was constipated, and especially like with dentistry stuff.
My parents had it as well.
It's so fucking hard being neurodivergent and being a parent of neurodivergent kids, and especially when none of us, one, even know we're neurodivergent, and two, no fucking idea what that even was. That is why I make this podcast with you. That is why we do what we do. Because there was so many times when I was younger where this podcast would have changed my life. It would have absolutely made my life and the life of my family, my friends, everything so much better. So just, we need to talk more. We need more information because it was so difficult being a parent, and just having these fucking professionals. And especially because I was young and I look even younger than I am. So like
you were a young parent as well, yeah.
The judgment that we would get of like this teenage parent is just terrible.
My mum and dad had
like,
it. They were like,
I'm fucking not.
He's like, you obviously aren't parenting your son properly because he won't eat this piece of cardboard shit that we put in front of him at lunchtime every single day. It's like, yes, of course. Yeah, man. Yeah, fuck school dinners. Anyway, we'll take a little break, and when we come back, we'll talk about our own lived experiences around like sensory sensitivity, executive dysfunction, and also emotional regulation. This episode of the Neurodivergent Experience is brought to you by RTN Mental Health Solutions. With up to a 5-year waiting list for autism and ADHD assessments via the NHS, and that's even if you get a referral from your GP, getting an assessment in the UK has never been harder. So if you're like me and can't wait anymore, going private may be the best option for you. RTN offers online assessments for kids aged 6 right up to adults. To make it more accessible, RTN can offer payment plans up to 5 months. You can access their remote services from the comfort of your home anywhere in the UK, and RTN offers group and one-to-one counselling, a private route to access ADHD medication following the assessment, and will even fight for you if your GP doesn't accept the results. So if you live in the UK and can't wait to get an assessment, go to www.rtnmentalhealthsolutions.com and use the discount code RTN23, making it even more affordable for all of our listeners to get an autism and ADHD assessment.
Welcome back to this podcast. We are on a podcast and we are talking about weight and food as neurodivergent people.
And the FUBUs.
We're not talking about that.
But I want to talk about it. All right, fine. We'll talk about the thing that everyone else wants to talk about and not what I want to talk about. But let's talk about what I want to talk about. It's always about everyone else.
There's somebody who edits this podcast, that's a lie. Anyway, right.
I barely ever say anything. I just listen very intently and occasionally interject with intelligent and balanced viewpoints.
We are talking about this podcast, yeah?
No, I'm talking about the one I made up in my head. I'm actually not a lunatic.
Executive dysfunction or emotional regulation.
Sorry.
Anyway, yes, absolutely. How did nobody pick up that we've got ADHD? Really, honestly, really,
know.
How did it take so long? It
didn't. What? I'll just shut up. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back. So the role of like sensory sensitivity and like executive dysfunction with food and like emotional regulation is the thing that it fucks with me. Because you put something crunchy in my food that I don't know is there and it goes in my mouth and I feel a crunch. I want to just like spoon everything off my tongue onto the plate. But obviously, society deems that to be quite a rude thing to do.
Dude, I just had an epiphany. Is that like a eureka moment? You were talking and suddenly you just made me realize the baby brain. That's why so many of us have these issues with food is the baby brain. Surely it's the baby brain. Because when you're a baby, you can't eat certain you can't eat solid food. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I mush my food like a motherfucker.
You have to, it's either milk when you're an infant or baby food as you're learning. And then it's selective food. And I'm wondering, like, when we get stuck with the synaptic pruning, obviously it's very, you can drink now because you've mentioned synaptic pruning. Take the shot.
Oh, yes, of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have a little shot. Yeah. It's our drinking game, ladies and gentlemen. Every time I say synaptic pruning, take a shot. Obviously, it happens very differently for every single one of us, which is why some of us have this ARFID, or some of us have like the sensory issues severely with food, and some of us only a little bit. And I'm just like, I'm thinking, my brain working, and I'm thinking, so the less synaptic pruning happens, so the more your baby brain is running things, as it were, to do with food. Is that why we can't deal with the idea of lots of different foods and textures because we're so just used to that baby food that was like, oh, that's baby food?
Yeah, I mean, literally the other night, Karis and I got a Chinese and I get rice, I get my main, and I just go and mix it up because I know certain people, and Sophie, I'm interested to hear what sort of like eater you are with this. I have members of my family who will literally like not let anything on a plate touch. And they'll go, I'll eat that, and then I'll eat that. It's like with a full English breakfast. I go in order. I eat like the least on the plate, like beans and mushrooms first, and I work my way around to the bacon and the sausage and the hash brown. Like that's this sort of order that I do it in, but it's only that food. So like, even when I was younger, I'd get ice cream and I'd just go chop, and mush it up. And I do it now. Like I hide foods inside of foods, but then I know so many people that break it all up, won't let it touch, have a really specific order. Another thing that you mentioned in the previous break, Jordan, which something that kind of made me go, oh, yes, of course. I would eat, and this has caused a lot of issues in my life in relationships that I've had previously before I was diagnosed or even knew what the fuck neurodivergence was. Executive dysfunction around making food. I can make food, but I open the fridge and I get so easily overwhelmed because things that I want to eat, I go, oh, I haven't got that ingredient. I need to go to the shop. And I can just feel myself getting daunted by it. And it has affected me in previous relationships where people have said, you eat like a child. You want me to make food for you. Get a grip. And that makes me just want to only eat crisps and just feel awful.
What I've noticed is obviously being at uni, being around many neurodivergent people who don't know they are, but especially my 3 boy housemates at uni, definitely all neurodivergent. They do not leave their room. They play video games all day. One of them will wake up and he puts a frozen pizza in the oven and that's his breakfast. And then for lunch, he puts a frozen pizza in his oven and that's his lunch. And then for dinner, what do we know? It's the same thing. And it is the same pizza every time and a cup of tea. And this is how
he will die young.
It is. I think if I was going to give any advice, especially from a picky eater, whether we were giving advice or not, is people do not know or understand or have been taught how to cook because their parents don't know how to cook, and people see actually knowing how to cook as this kind of like hobby and this thing, whereas really it is a skill that everyone should know because it's so essential to life, right? It's essential to your health, it's essential to your well-being. We aren't really taught that. And so as an autistic person, you're going, right, I need to eat, like I need to sleep. Some people don't always want to, or some people enjoy it because it brings them a lot of comfort.
I don't enjoy sleeping at all.
Because they don't know they haven't been taught how to do that very well from a young age when, kind of we're taking in lots of information and we're learning how to live in adult life. We do what makes us feel most comfortable and is in our comfort zone. And so I think cooking with your children, getting them to make their own meals, obviously when they're at an age that they can, is the best way forward. Because at uni, no one knows how to cook. And then if you're autistic as well and you have sensory difficulties and you only like to know what you know and stay in your comfort zone, then that it's very hard to change that. And it's very hard to come out of that. And then you get, and then a health problem comes because of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's really difficult to go, oh, I didn't realize that was going to do this to me. And now I've got to change so late in life everything I know. And on top of maybe having a job and masking in day-to-day life, that is really, really difficult.
Yeah, because like it's the executive dysfunction for me. When I was at university, I used to live with guys very similar to the sort of guys that you live with, Sophie, where like somebody, he'd ring Domino's at like 12 o'clock on a Monday and they'd be like, the usual, same as yesterday. And I used to know guys that used to burn so much money on food, and I would like try and cook, but the amount of times that I forget I've got food in the fridge, and you'd be like, oh, I bought some grapes, and you open them and they go, oh, that's not grapes anymore, that's wine. And I would lose track of stuff. It's like I have to keep it visually in front of me. It's like I have to have the fridge ordered in a way. And I say this, and Karis will probably listen to this and she'll go, yeah, but you don't do it. And that's my problem, is like I know that I should do these things, but yeah, I struggle to translate it into the sort of physical world.
Oh, the demand avoidance, man.
Yeah, dude, it kills me because like my dad is not a cook and he really struggles with like sensory sensitivity. Like even he will like make food for his dog, and if there's any raw chicken in it, he will literally gip and need to wash his hands for like minutes because he just feels so uncomfortable touching raw food. Whereas like with me, my mum was teaching me to make omelets when I was like 8, and I know how to make food. HelloFresh has been a bit of a godsend because it sends the right amount of ingredients. It sends a variety of meal packs. And it's all there. But if you were to say to me, right, Simon,
sponsorship deal incoming.
Please do. That'd be save me a fortune.
That'll work.
Like if you were to say to me, Si, go and make a meal for 4 people, I could do it. If you gave me what the meal was, what the ingredients were, and how much of it is. If I can follow a plan, I can cook through feeling. But if you were to say to me right now, go to the supermarket and buy all of those ingredients yourself.
No,
it's not happening.
No.
Yeah, it's very overwhelming.
And the convenience of Uber Eats is why I put on weight during COVID, because I didn't like going outside. I became very reclusive and isolated. I didn't like going to supermarkets because obviously the whole anxiety of the pandemic. And I got into the habit of going, I've had a long day at work. I've not had a great day at work. I'm tired. The last thing that I want to do now is figure out how the fuck to make a meal. You go, oh, toast is easy. Toast and American cheese with some hot dogs. Super easy. Why do I feel like shit the next day? Oh, wait, it's because of the fuel I'm putting in my body.
It's a very difficult cycle to get stuck in because it's, dealing with life on top of then figuring out what to cook yourself. And then that what to cook yourself is going to be linked to how you feel and how you handle life.
Before you know it, it's 8:30 and I've gone, oh, I've not eaten.
Yeah, HelloFresh has been an absolute game changer for us because...
I got them on HelloFresh.
No,
because they never.
What are you talking about? I don't even.
I was like, you guys need it. It's gonna be good for you. I know it will be.
Yeah,
and
see,
then
every time you said that, demand avoidance was like, no. And then suddenly Sylvia went, I think we should get HelloFresh. And I was like, whatever you say. But if your children say, you're like, no, you're tiny and small and insignificant, shut up.
But I'm like that with my parents. My mum would be like, I would be at uni, she'd ring me and she'd go, are you eating well? Not anymore. Like, that's just sort of...
I was until you told me I should
Until you told me to.
Yeah, oh God, I fucking hate demand avoidance.
Like, I used to go out with a girl who was from Norway, and they have a thing of like eating... They have totally different breakfast styles to us. And I used to like not have lettuce or tomatoes with my breakfast, and the amount of like judgment I used to feel. Like, how dare you have a greasy bacon sandwich? And I was like, but it's my safe food. It's what I can eat today. So that's just what I want. And it used to cause like so many arguments. And I used to feel like so childish and really like underdeveloped as a person because I couldn't just be like, maybe I'll have something really high in this and this and this today. I'm like, I'm lucky if I can even stomach something before 11 o'clock. And when you throw in like methylphenidate and the need to eat food with medication and stuff, there's so much executive dysfunction that comes into play with my life because it's like, oh, you need to have breakfast before you take your meds, but I need regulation to feel like I can eat, but I can't get that without the stimulation from the meds. So I need to eat or I can't take the med, and then I don't want to eat because I know I need to take the med, then I don't take the med because I even eat, and now I'm not medicated and I'm not eating. And it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm like, why do I feel like shit? Oh, wait, I have terrible interoception. So now I'm just like going, just having an absolute nightmare of a time.
Yeah. I think for me, I really struggled, not necessarily the texture of foods, but it was the sensory smell. So especially fish. Like, oh my God, like my sense of smell is so strong. And I remember like if we go into the supermarket, which was a sensory nightmare just in general.
Yeah,
but
it is for me, yeah.
As soon as I even got close, and I don't even mean like next to, I mean I could be like 3 rows away, and I could just smell the fish like it was just slapping me in the face, and it would be so bad. But I really like the taste of fish. But every time I would taste fish, I would remember that smell of the raw fish. So it's almost like the eidetic memory was screwing me over.
It's the curse of the eidetic brain, man.
So I couldn't enjoy the fish unless it was fish and chip fish battered to pieces, because you would just smell fish and chips, and that like covered in vinegar and salt, and that would like that smell would supersede the freaking awful fishmonger fish smell. So again, it was just I could eat fish, but only in an unhealthier. Because I don't like thinking, oh, that's unhealthy, that's healthy. I mean, like that has more nutrients than that. But there is you could eat healthy food in an unhealthier way, like, broccoli covered in cheese. Like, I would definitely prefer broccoli covered in cheese.
Give me a cauliflower, it ain't happening. Cover it in cheese.
Yeah. So you're getting the nutrients, but you're also doing it in an unhealthier way. And sometimes that's the balance you might need in order to get the nutrition you need and have the flavor that you want, which is why I think the turtles always ate chocolate on their pizza. I don't know why. But somehow I'm going to get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into this podcast.
Yeah, take a shot.
Yeah. And I did struggle a lot with those sorts of things, because there was a lot of fish in my house. My dad loved fish. He loved like mussels, cockles. It was like proper London. Those eels.
Really sort of like overwhelming aromas from a lot of those foods when they get cooked, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, God, eels, man.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. But I think, like, again, Sylvia saves me as always. But when we first started going out, I literally would just eat pasta and ketchup. Like, that's it. Just like pasta and ketchup. That was my main thing.
Oh, my mum still jokes about, like, my dad only used to eat like Madeira cake and sausages, and like he'd never had pasta or rice until he met my mum when they got together when they were like in like 18, 19.
Oh, Sylvia introduced me to this thing called meat.
Yes,
which you add to pasta. And it wasn't the fact that I didn't want to add meat to the pasta. It was the fact that I was really, really poor at the time and I couldn't afford the meat to add to the pasta. But also, it wasn't me that as much that. It was more the fact that I didn't know how to cook it. I knew how to boil pasta and I knew how to put ketchup on it, but I didn't know how to like heat up sauce. Like, I had no cooking skills other than I remember that thing. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, anyone could boil an egg. And I was like, that sounds like a fantasy thing. Please teach me, Master Chef. Boil an egg? How do you know it's cooked? How do you know you can't see the inside of the egg? How do you know it's cooked? And it's like, well, magic, you just know, you know how to boil an egg. I'm like, no, I don't fucking know how to boil an egg. I know how to boil pasta because I can see and I can pick up the pasta and it's limp and done. I know when it's done. That's really easy. But how do I know when the inside of an egg is cooked? And it's like, well, you boil it at this. And it's like, that is something that I had to learn. And it's something that I really couldn't be taught because I'm very, very difficult to teach.
See, what I did with my housemate is I did food nights with them, because it wasn't necessarily that they were, they didn't have actually a lot of sensory problems with food. It was actually more that they just like knowing what they're going to eat and it's going to be the same thing and it's easy for them.
It takes away the anxiety.
It's a big thing.
It's just what they like doing. And so I was like, okay, we had a burrito night, we had a pizza night, and we had a Christmas dinner. And I love cooking. And so I kind of got them all down from their rooms and we cooked it all together. And these boys, one of them asked me how to cut a pepper. And I was like, do you not know how to cut a pepper?
I know how to cut a pepper.
And he was like, I don't. My mum's always cut my pepper. And I'm like, okay.
Mollycoddling is not the way to bring up your neurodivergent children.
I see
some more advice. Just a little bit more advice.
It's very interesting. I think from a point of view when we're talking about kind of our relationship, of how like we see ourselves in terms of eating and our weight. When I was a teenager and I got really healthy and stuff, because I'm also neurodivergent, I got so easily influenced by social media about how I should look, especially as a young girl. And it was very, very harmful to me, because my special interest became a special interest in how I should look and what I need to eat and what I shouldn't be eating to then achieve that. And that meant me basically trying to not eat, trying to starve myself. And then I couldn't do that because I loved food so much and I just really enjoyed eating. And so then it would be, this is a good food, that's a bad food. And it became very, very intense. And I would see these influencers on Instagram and with these bodies that were desired. And I thought, right, I need to stop eating. I need to do this. And it became an obsession, a complete special interest, but in the wrong way, in a way that was very, very unhealthy for me.
Yeah. The worst thing about it is we didn't even know really what was going on. And I've always felt really crappy about that, because we weren't informed, and I just didn't do social media. I mean, I really, really despise social media in general. And I know that all sounds ironic, but I really do. And I just didn't do social media. I hated it, but I wasn't going to stop my kids from doing it because it was the way that they would fit in and like communicate with their friends. I had no idea the damage it was doing. And I definitely feel like I wish that I had been more involved and knew what was happening.
Yeah, it was. So all I felt I could do is, I loved exercise. And I felt that this is an awful kind of way of putting it, but I felt I couldn't starve myself. So I could never get skinny that way. So I would just exercise till I felt sick, and then eat, because that was the only way I could do it. But then that became an obsession, which was...
it's like a punishment. It's like you're only allowed something if you've done...
Yeah.
I've also been in that school of thought as well before.
And I remember crying because I knew I had to go to a party later, and you guys couldn't take me to the gym. I remember crying because I thought, I can't get my workout in, so I can't like de-bloat my stomach. So I'm going to go with like a big stomach.
Oh, you went in deep if you're talking about de-bloating.
Yeah, and it was really, really hard. And to be fair, I deleted Instagram. I deleted social media because I was so low, and I felt my body was never going to be the body I was. And again, like the girls at my school, they didn't eat. They were doing all the things that I wanted to do, even though it's terrible for you, which is just not eat. That's very common amongst young girls. And I just couldn't do that. And it was only until I say about COVID time when the whole body positivity movement came in. And that influenced me, very autistic man. I'm very easily influenced. And they were like, no, you're good. You're okay. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I am okay. And now the only people I follow on social media are people who talk about health and fitness in a very positive manner and eating in a very positive manner. But I know that is not a lot of people's generation, and their generation tells them to follow diet culture.
Or that it's just okay to eat anything and somehow you'll be fine, even if you're like 25 stone and 5 foot.
Yeah, it's such a swing, isn't it? This is why I try and avoid social media as much as I can.
You know, you can't survive on 1p a day, but like an actual pea or a carrot. But you also won't survive if you eat 5,000 calories a day. Like you won't survive into your adult years very far if you're just killing yourself.
Oh, mate, people with six packs still have strokes and heart attacks and stuff because the content of like. But I
could not agree more,
crazy.
Because it's not about how much fat you have.
It's not about how you look.
And it's not about how you look. It is about your physical size compared to the physical size of your heart. So you could be 25 stone of muscle or 25 stone of visceral fat, and it's all bad for you because your heart is only a certain size and it has to pump blood around that entire huge body. And I think one of the only real differences, and I'm not medical, this is not like, as far as I can tell, the only real difference between being that big with fat and being that big with muscle is the fact that you are higher potential for the fat to clot the blood.
Yeah.
Right?
Heart attacks, it's like saturated fat in your arteries, which is what ends up leading to stroke.
Because it closes off and creates like gaps in the blood flow,
which
doesn't
is
it?
Why being neurodivergent, as fantastic as it is sometimes, and it's 100% a disability, this definitely counts under the disability side of it. Because if we are overweight, if we are an unhealthy size, we don't, there's just, oh, you're fat, just go and lose weight. And it's not that easy. And that's the exact same as saying to me, well, you've got a bad back, go and climb that mountain. I'm like,
just work out your back more then.
Or I know it's also the same with people being told that they're too skinny, or they look anorexic, whereas they're actually just really struggling to eat.
Sometimes you've just born with the body you're born with. It's like sometimes like a squirrel will jump on a fence that'll be a really big squirrel. You go, oh, look at the big boy. And we all have different bodies. Like, it's not, there isn't like a one size fits all. I mean, I know people in my family that are from a certain generation that have always been overweight, and somebody will walk past them and they'll go, they've put on weight. It's like, you've put on weight.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Oh God.
Like,
Sylvia's had that all her life. Every time she's gone to Poland, they'll be like, oh, you're a big girl. I'm like,
oh yeah, I've had people pinch me before, man. I've had people pinch my tummy before. I've had casting people. I've had people in theater say to me, you need to lose weight. Even though I used to be in really good shape. Like really good shape. Like I used to have abs. Like there's photos of me somewhere where I look amazing. But that in itself is me going, oh, I looked amazing. I've got something to compare myself to.
Oh God, been there.
But we'll talk about this after.
Let's
have a little break.
Let's have a break, and then we can talk about like how and why we feel better, and how maybe we can help Scotty feel better.
Have you ever felt stuck in patterns that don't serve you? Struggled with stress or wanted to connect more deeply with yourself? Then I have to introduce you to a friend of the podcast, Ashley Bentley of Integrated Coaching, Breathwork and Hypnotherapy. Ashley is a highly experienced clinical hypnotherapist and coach specializing in working with neurodivergent minds. Through a unique blend of integrative coaching, breathwork and hypnotherapy, Ashley helps people rewire subconscious patterns, regulate their nervous systems, and step into more empowered versions of themselves. Whether you're dealing with addiction, anxiety, burnout, or struggles with self-acceptance, Ashley offers practical and science-backed tools tailored just for you. Her unique methods combine neuroscience, storytelling, and subconscious transformation to create real, lasting change. Jordan and I can personally attest to the profound and transformative effects of her sessions, which have been life-changing. She does all of these sessions online, meaning she can work with you no matter where you are in the world. If you're ready to break free from old patterns and start living with more clarity, confidence, and connection, go to bit.ly/AshleyNDE to book a free consultation or learn more. Welcome back to the Neurodivergent Experience. It's been an interesting conversation today because we've all got such different experiences with like body image and ideas around weight and food. And I think a lot of that, especially with me, and I'm interested to hear this with you guys, is like emotional regulation. I have never really felt good about how I looked. I've always liked my face and I like my hair, and I've never really liked my body. I've had like issues with my knees because of like hypermobility and things like that. But I've always been chunky. I've never been super slim. I've never had like a really slim tummy. And comparison is the motherfucking killer of joy. And also being in the arts, I had a particular time where somebody was like, it's going to be hard to cast you because you've got like the face of a hero, but the body of a fool. You know, you're not like attractive enough below the neck to be cast as a lead, but you're also too good looking to be the comedic person. So, you may never work. And that fucked with my head, dude.
Big fuck you, I guess. Yeah.
And
wow.
I eat when I'm depressed. That is just my thing. Like, if I'm depressed, I'm like, a bag of crisps, family size, I am the family. And that's, you know, and I can't stop myself. It's like, I'll have a biscuit and I'll go, that felt way better than anything that I've eaten today. Let's have another 10. And I've never liked water. I've always needed cordial in drinks. I've always needed Vimto. And man, when I lived at uni, fizzy drinks were my worst enemy. That's
got to be one of the worst things in this house is we are a fizzy drink family. As well. And as healthy as we are with so many things, and we really don't drink alcohol.
I don't at all anymore.
I think Sylvia and I have 3 bottles of wine that have been in the fridge for about a year. I'm not sure they're okay. But we just don't, and, you know, we don't smoke, and, you know, we all the things that are cliche. We're very good, but my God, yeah, like, just Fanta and Pepsi Max. Always sugar-free ones, but they're also really freaking bad for you, especially for your teeth.
Caffeine and your teeth, and yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just, it's not good. So we go through, Sylvia drinks loads and loads of water. Like, Sylvia's actually way better than I am. But then she'll have a day like yesterday where we're just hanging out and she just forgot. And all day we're just on because it's convenience. And also water doesn't taste of anything. So we don't get any dopamine fix from water.
I hate it. The amount of times I'm like, why do my kidneys hurt? Why do I feel like I'm having a back spasm? Oh, I haven't drunk any water today. And I just have no awareness of it. But if you genuinely, it's weird because like,
why is my
pea because like if you were to give me like, because Caris has like this huge big bottle of water, and she paid for it. It's like got like an internal straw in it because she's a sipper rather than a gulper. Like she gulps and she chokes, so she has to like have straws in like everything. And I wonder if that's like was it ARFID? I wonder if that's ARFID. I wonder if that's that maybe. But you give me a glass of water, I'll take all day to drink it. But there's this sort of weird thing that like kicks in with me is if you give me a crisp, cold can of Coke, I gulp it like a 5-year-old running off a playground. Like it's like, just inhale it. And it's like there's something that like activates where I can just neck it. But any other drink, it's like I have to really think about the physical action of actually drinking to drink it.
I do think straws do really help with water because I know that I have one of those bottles. And like on the side of it, it's like, you can do it. You're almost there.
Don't tell me what to do.
Only this much to go. Yeah. To be fair, I only bought it because it was orange and green, like Michelangelo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Yeah, just so I was really like, I'm drinking from a turtle cup. But yeah, like I've said before, at the gym, I get the flavored water. It's like a very small hint of flavored water from the machine there. And I drink that so much, like it's so much better, and it's that's how I'm dealing with it. But drinking it through the straw is way better than having a glass for me. To be fair, I don't particularly like drinking from a glass in general. Like I prefer a straw or a can, and I think it's only like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. So again, that might be a sensory thing. Because I have a really bad gag reflex. Like even just...
I clean my teeth wrong. If I clean my teeth and hit my tongue sometimes, I will gag. Like...
Oh, yeah. 100%. So, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Right, so what I want to talk about mostly is... And I want Sophie, I want you to talk about this so much because I think your positivity and your love of yourself and your kindness towards yourself as far as food and your weight is concerned has been infectious. Like the positive effect for not just me, but your mum as well, who has never been happier. Like even last night, she had a shower, she's come out, she's looking in the mirror and she's like, oh, I look good. And you have no idea how long I've waited for my beautiful, stunning wife to say that she looks
sees
good
herself how you see
in
her.
front of a
I'm
mirror.
the same with my own partner. It's like sometimes like I will be upset with her when she's like, oh, I don't like how I look today. And I like, because of just the way my brain works, I'm like, I can't comprehend how you would think that because I think you're amazing. And she's just like, oh no. But then in the same breath, she'll be like, oh, you look great today. And the traumatized bully little 8-year-old version of me in my brain goes, you're taking the piss out of me, aren't you? And I have to like really, really battle that.
Yeah.
It's very defensive. But what's been your sort of like?
But yeah.
What's your secret, Sophie? What's your secret to like this emotional regulation with food?
What's your secret, Sophie?
I have struggled with my eating and the whole thing with weight ever since I was around like 10 or 12. And even going into uni, I got influenced by kind of the body positivity movement, and that was really great. And then I got to uni and I was like, I'm gonna stop with all of this, you know, classing food as this and classing food as that, and I'm just gonna eat. I'm just gonna eat to make me happy. I found out I can eat a lot of food. And when I did that, I ended up being in a place where I went, oh, I think I can
binge eat. Yeah,
I'm only 5'4". I'm not a very big human, and I was eating the same size as a 6'1" man, and I was like, oh, I think I've gone too far now. Because I eat when I'm upset. I eat when I'm happy. I can eat, and I love
My
it.
bank account is empty, especially since you became vegan.
They call it food noise. It's like I have that. I'm like, oh, I'm happy. Let's have something to eat. Oh, I'm feeling sad. Let's also have something to eat. I'm indifferent. I'm bored. Let's have something to eat.
Yeah.
Something to eat.
And so I was like, okay, I realized I'm eating too much. And what I did is I just did the very autistic thing and I learned everything about it. I've learned so much about health. I've learned so much about how that links to well-being. I've learned so much about, I look at loads of different recipes and I try things out, and I've come to such a stable place with my health and my well-being, and my food. Whereas like I do what, when I was at uni, towards the end in my third year, I did basically HelloFresh, but I did it myself. So every Saturday with my partner, we'd go through YouTube or whatever. We'd find 5 or 6 recipes for dinner. We'd write down all the ingredients, really simple, like YouTube recipes where they give you like really simple things. We'd buy the ingredients in Lidl. And then for that week, every day we had a dinner ready with a recipe. And that's what we did. And that meant that I didn't have to think about it when I came home. I didn't have to like impulse buy anything. And impulse buying when I'm sad, going and buying chocolate and going and buying this.
Oh,
I had to limit myself to about like £5 because I spend so much money on all these snacks that I want. And because I'm tired and the day was so stressful and I just want to eat chocolate and stuff like that. And so it's been a lot of kind of understanding my behavior. Knowing that when I feel like this is what you do. When you're tired, you don't want to cook and you're going to eat something bad. It's understanding my own behavior. And so I kind of pre-plan how I'm going to feel and what I'm going to do and like prepare myself for that. And I love routine. I'm a very routine person. And so knowing that when I come home, I need to make dinner because I will be hungry. And if I don't eat, I don't want to be spoken to, and everything, a meltdown will happen if I don't eat and I'm hungry.
I can attest to this.
And so, yeah, just having these kind of plans in place for me, either someone like getting HelloFresh or kind of doing it yourself, because there's so much, that is what social media is great for. There's so much great knowledge and great influencers out there who will give you easy recipes for when you come home, and very simple ingredients. And that's what I did. But still, I am probably the most in shape I've ever been in my life. I am considered someone who has a flat stomach and whatever. And I still don't feel good about myself most of the time. I still look in the mirror and I'm like, oh. And that's just something I accept, that is obviously a lot of my things in my childhood or things in my past. People saying that I had thunder thighs and big legs and all of these influences. I just understand that is who is speaking right now. You are doing the best you can. You are preparing yourself for good health and well-being. And every time I do kind of all these preparations and I eat well, and I still have my chocolate, but I just buy like one chocolate and not like a whole pack. So it's like, I then feel good, and I've kind of got into this positive cycle. And still, I'm going to have I still have negative thoughts about myself. I still think about my weight. I still think about what I'm not. But I just try and accept that is not always the truth. And it's someone in the past, or it's a situation that's.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
I think it's really interesting, because basically you're saying you're in the best place you've ever been, but you're still not in the best place that you would expect someone to be in if they say, I'm in the best place.
Your idea of the best place.
Yeah. So you like that is such a wonderful way of putting it, saying you're going to have bad days, you're going to have bad thoughts, but the fact that you don't hate yourself for having those bad thoughts, the fact that you can accept the fact that you will have bad thoughts, but you don't let that impact you negatively to the fact that it really destroys you. It's almost like every now and again, you're going to get a bit of rain, and you just go, well, it's a rainy day. It's not the best day, but you can still go out with your, raincoat and your umbrella, and you can still enjoy the day even when it's raining. So it's not perfect, but you can still get through it.
I think it's a very autistic way of thinking sometimes, that if you didn't do something how you wanted to, and you've labeled it as doing a bad thing,
expectation,
you ruined everything, and you might as well just give up, and you are the worst person. And so now my mind is never about I look at consistency. I take every day as every day comes, and I think, if today didn't go how I needed it to, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep working out. I'm gonna keep planning my meals. I'm gonna keep eating what I love. I'm gonna look at my behavior and make sure that if I'm going overboard because I'm emotional, or because I'm just having one of those days, that's not gonna ruin tomorrow. That's not gonna ruin next week. That's just today, because that's how I feel, and that's okay. And tomorrow I'm going to get I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And today was today, and that's okay. And it's about being kind to yourself and not being in that autistic mind that you have ruined the routine, you have ruined everything, you've destroyed everything, you ate crisps and you ate this, and that self-hatred is just going to send you right back into that negative loop.
Oh, self-deprecation's the killer. It's the killer. But I would say, my advice, this is the thing that's really helped me personally, is if you are somebody who struggles with preparing food, make it as low demand as possible. You aren't a bad person because you have HelloFresh. You aren't a bad person because you buy a salad from Tesco that's got everything in it already cut up. You aren't losing, you're winning. Even if it's you are somebody who eats 5 bags of crisps today. Tomorrow, if you eat 4, it's a win. You know, you're not a loser because you've eaten only 4 bags of crisps today. It's about just taking these little steps. And if you can only take 1 step today, then that is enough.
I think you're completely right in saying that, because when I look at my journey, I went from being in a crazy mindset with everything. And then I went, no, I'm going to eat whatever I want. And then I did that. And that helped me get rid of these really negative like labels of food. And so I found food freedom. But then when I found food freedom, I was overeating, and I didn't feel good because I was completely overeating. And then I took this other step, which was now I have food freedom. I see food as just everything is equal. And now I'm going to take a step to finding the right amount, the right portions that suit me and don't make me feel sick. And because sometimes I would overeat so much I'd make myself feel sick, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so I took these small steps, and it took years to get there, right? But then now I'm at a point where I get the portions, I'm good with all food. Like, I don't see anything as bad, I don't see anything good. And now I'm here. And that took a step at a time.
Well, that's how I quit smoking. I used to smoke 20 cigarettes a day. And then I went, right, we're only going to have 19 today. And then about a week or 2 later, I went, right, I'm used to 19. Let's move it down to 18. And then I got to the point where I hit 10. So I stopped buying a box of 20. I started buying a box of 10. And it took me a year. And eventually it got to the point where I stopped smoking and just had nicotine gum. And then I just stopped having it all together. It's like, but I had to wean myself off. Like, if I'm going to eat 6 bags of crisps a day, if you say to yourself, right, we're not eating crisps anymore, you're going to fail. Like, you're going to fail.
Oh, God, yeah. That is every time in the past I've gone, right, I'm losing weight, I'm not going to eat this. And I'd make lists on my phone.
I'm going to the gym, but I'm going to go every day rather than just going 1 day a week. So if I don't go 5 days a week, I'm a fucking failure. Like, just try and go once.
Right,
and just...
So I would make the lists, and I would be like, okay, I'm not going to eat this. And then I would go to the supermarket, and I'd be the most unhappy person in the universe, because I was like, well, I can't have that. I can't have that. I can't have that. And I'd be so unhappy. And then I'd literally get to the point where I'm like, what is even the point in me losing weight if I'm just going to be unhappy when I lose weight, because I can't eat the things that I want because they make me so happy. So the fact that I ended up, and it has taken 40 odd years to get to this point of just being, I can eat the crisps, I can have the cake, I just can't eat the whole cake or all the crisps. And because I regularly exercise, because I move, because I think I have privilege, by the way. I have privilege that I can do that. Even with my bad back, there are people that can't exercise, that can't move, that can't do the things that I can do. And I recognize that privilege all day long. But there's always something that I can do, even on a bad back day, that I can just be like, okay, well, I just won't gorge myself. And it has got to that point, because every time I tried to deny myself, I ended up gorging eventually and then just ruining it. But nowadays I'm like, oh, I want those biscuits. So me personally, this is what I do. I will take 2 out of the packet, and then I'll wrap the packet up, and I'll put one of those little clips
sandwich
on
bag clips
that keeps them fresh.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I'll put it back in the cupboard, and I'll take my 2 biscuits with my cup of coffee, and I'll eat those 2 biscuits. And then if I want more biscuits, I've got to get off my chair. And I know this sounds crazy, but demand avoidance is
so
harsh.
It's a great point.
It's so harsh. I've got to get off my chair. I've got to walk all the way to the kitchen. I've got to get the packet out. I've got to unwrap it. I've got to take 1 or 2 more out. Then I've got to wrap it back up, seal it, and then go. And a lot of the times I go, no, because I had that taste. I had that, and now it's gone. And that's fine. That is how I've managed to do it. Whereas I don't deny myself it, but I don't sit there with a packet of biscuits next to me because I fucking know, even now, if that packet of biscuits is next to me, that packet of biscuits is going to be empty by the time I fucking finish whatever I'm watching, even if it's a fucking 5-minute YouTube video. Because I just can't stop.
It's such an interesting thing that we're trying to look after ourselves, and by trying to look after ourselves, we're actually being horrible.
It's that ableism, isn't it? It's just internalized
and
ableism.
We're just being awful to ourselves. Say, you can't do that, you can't have that, and you must do that.
No biscuits for you, bastard.
We're getting really like, we put all these rules on ourselves and all these like expectations, and then we let ourselves down, and then we get upset.
We just hate ourselves. We're like,
brutal,
I'm crap at that, because we didn't achieve that hyper focus. Because that hyper focus, like you said before, Sophie, where you're just like, I'm just going to do this thing, and it's so harmful. And we've just got to be forgiving of ourselves. We've got to not hate ourselves, because eating way too much and making yourself unhealthy in that way is hating ourselves, because that's my personal experience. I self-harm by eating too much food, and because then I hate myself for eating that much food, but then I want comfort, so I eat that much food, but then I hate myself.
Cycle, isn't it?
And I'm like, oh my God, it is a vicious cycle. And my heart goes out to anybody out there who is dealing with it. And I really, really hope that you can get the help that I got, because I got the help, a lot of the help, from Ashley Bentley through the hypnotherapy. And I also just wanted to announce, I know this is like totally off topic because I actually forgot to say it, but it's totally off topic. Ashley last night, as of recording, got engaged to her long-time boyfriend.
Congratulations, Ashley.
Ashley is engaged, and I've told her that it's £3,000 to hire a celebrity photographer known as Jordan, the greatest man.
Do a deal. We'll do a deal for $9.99.
Yeah, well, I found out 1,500's the normal, so it's like, well, I'm a celebrity now, so yeah, double money.
I hear eye rolls over the airwaves, but there was one there.
That's a joke.
I was going to say, I think we kind of all forget that when we do this to ourselves, they're in us all that are just little children, and we're going, no, we want to eat this, and we want to eat as much as we can, and I want my. And if you shout at a child and give them all these rules that are really restrictive and intense, they're not going to want to listen, and they're going to try and do everything they can to go against it. But if you guide them with nurture and love and support, you might influence them and help them to develop in a really good way. And I think that's kind of that's how I treat myself now. I'm a little child who wants chocolate because she had a bad day at uni and someone was mean to her. Okay. And so what I do is I say, you have £3. This is your money for the shop. You can buy snacks worth of £3. That's all you can do.
Like pocket money yourself.
And I'm like, okay, what can I do with £3? And I'm like, yes, I can buy this one. I could buy that one. And that's how I do it. I do it out of love. I do it out of care. And I don't do it out of just
That's that. Yeah, I would totally agree, and I think that's a great place to end this episode. So just take a step at a day, guys, when you're listening to this, and we hope that having these sorts of conversations just normalizes some of the things that you're feeling. Because I tell you what, 5-6 years ago, if I had heard this conversation back, my God, it may have really helped me. Because even today, I feel a lot better than I did when we first started talking.
And speaking about anyone who is listening who is feeling better, I also would like to say that Sophie has just started mentoring again after taking a break because of her university work. She has started mentoring again. She's already got some clients. So, Sophie, how can people contact you for neurodivergent mentoring?
They can go through my Facebook page, Sophie James, and just drop me a message through Messenger, and I'll give you all the information that you need and anything that you want to talk about and discuss.
An email?
Oh, yes. My email is Sophie James mentoring at outlook.com or .co.uk.
It'll be in the show notes.
I say we, yes. Scotty, the genius that he is, will put it in the show notes. So
I don't even know my own email.
yeah, well, yeah. All I know is that I have a Labubu, and that's all I need to know. And I will now
just don't flick its
just
face.
Don't flick it. Oh! She flicked his face.
And his eye fell off.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Neurodivergent Experience. We hope today's episode sparks something for you, whether it's a new idea, a bit of validation, or just a moment of connection. Remember, new episodes are every week, so be sure to join us for the next one for more conversations and insights into the neurodivergent experience. If you've enjoyed this podcast, help us grow. You can do that by rating and reviewing this show. Your support makes a huge difference in helping us reach more people who could benefit from these conversations. You can connect with us on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just search for the Neurodivergent Experience. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, take care of yourself. You're not alone in this journey.